Hello there. This hour on Verbling, we're going to continue the hot topic from the last hour. So this is our second hour on the paradoxes of wearable technology. And what we've been talking about so far is not so much the trend, but the two sides of the issue for one of the developers of Google Glass and worked at Google, which is the issue of how to make a device which is portable, that integrates into your everyday life, but that doesn't distract you, particularly doesn't cause dangerous distractions, as we've seen with people who drive and use a handheld device like texting. So we're going to move on to talking about the trends of wearable technology, the kinds of wearable technologies there are, what kinds interest you, what kinds you'd like to see, and also some controversies. For example, recently the mayor of New York talked about police being forced to use wearable technology to be more accountable for their actions. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. First, a little bit about me. I'm Jon-Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom quiet. Tune in to the new words and expressions you're learning. Use them as actively as you can so that I can correct you and give you feedback. And finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And we just left off with this part of the article where he leaves us with the question, can wearable devices be helpful? And the answer, he says, is it all depends. It depends on whether we use them to focus and augment our activities or to distract us, and it's up to us. It's up to us and those who create them. So my question was, who should be responsible? So Shell, I don't know if Shell's coming back, but Shell said that we have to be responsible. Adi, you were saying that it's the producers that have to be responsible. My question is, talking about Google Glass and any technology, my question is not who should be responsible, but how can you make people be responsible? That's the problem. How can we make it happen? Because we can all talk about it, but how can you make people stop texting and driving? The only way to do it is to make it illegal, I guess. What do you think? Texting and driving is one example, but we could talk about any others. So if everyone has Google Glass and we're seeing the world with lots of information overlaid on reality, we learn lots of things that are helpful. We can work with our hands free. I like that idea, but how can we make sure that both the producers and the users are using it responsibly? So I'm just curious what you all think about that.
In this article, it is written that it is our responsibility to use technology responsibly. So basically, it is our responsibility. But producer of new technology can create a new device to reduce our burden to use it.
But will they? But will they do it?
Yes.
Because the third-party people did the exact opposite with Google Glass. They did the exact opposite of what they should have done. They made it more complicated, more complex. So how can we make them do it? Or do you think that's not even the relevant question? For me, the question is, how can you enforce it? We all know what's good for us, but how can we make people do what's good for them? Just maybe it's not possible.
I think it is not impossible, but there are many unsolved problems for creators, for designers to solve. For designers still remains. So a lot of problems still remains. Um, but it is but the author of this article says wearable device is all, of course helpful, but it is still horrible. Yeah, it is still dangerous. So I don't know how to better to do how to better to solve the problem. Uh, mm,
Maybe,
but I think mm, it, I think new technology enable us to somewhat reduce our I think new technology enable new technology can solve the problem.
okay. So there's no easy solution,
Yes,
according
it is
to you.
not an easy solution. Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about wearable technology, I'm just curious, besides Google Glass, what other wearable technologies are you aware of or have you heard of? If you don't know of any, I'd like to hear of something that you'd like to see that maybe you haven't heard of. So, Adi, besides Google Glass, do you know of any other wearable technologies, particularly new ones?
It's not a new invention, I think, but it is a wearable technology, I think. Like for example, today's Ford produce cars where can synchronizing with our phone. So when there is a phone call, we doesn't have to pick up the phone, but we can talk. I mean, we can easily talk even without reaching our phone
Google
in the
has an app for
car.
that, by the way.
Yes.
That's what
Uh,
Google Voice used to do in the beginning. I don't know if it still does, but it had this Google Voice started off as a service to reroute any phone call to any place. So if you were in your
yeah.
car and you got a phone call at home, Google Voice would ring the phone in your car as well as the phone in your pocket, as well as the phone at home. And then you could, as you said, like a taxi driver, you could just click something on the dashboard and talk through the interface that way. So I've seen that happen. I've seen, especially in taxi cabs here, every day they just talk through the dashboard, whatever I don't know what they're using. Um, and, and so that's one. Yeah, it's wearable. Sure, why not? If you had Google Glass or whatever, or if you have your little Bluetooth thing, then you don't even have to use your hands. Okay. And what about you, Paulo? Have you heard of any wearable technology besides Google Glass?
I heard about the uh, clothes that we use to pass through the count, the supermarketing, and closes a lot of holographs and chips inside the clothes that
Mhm.
we can see where the people go on and identify the location and
So it tracks people,
yes,
tracks
tracks
them around.
people
Got
and
it, got
have.
it.
I read about the quantify self is a new technology scientists that people can control and monitoring their heartbeat and blood pressure and diabetes and uh, footprint. I think the quantify self is a very interesting
Is
way of
that is that a concept or is that a application, quantified self? Is that just an idea or is it an actual something you buy?
it's a concept idea, but under this concept we have a lot of devices about this concept. Like
Okay.
you can put chip inside your body and use the clothes to monitoring the health during
But by the way,
activity
one
or
syllable, not closes, but just clothes. One
clothes.
syllable. That's right. So the clothes will monitor your cardio or your blood sugar or your temperature, that kind of thing.
Yes, yes, something
Very
like this.
interesting.
Yes,
I
it's
know
a new way.
that was one of my questions in the beginning of the class was I didn't ask it, but I had it written on the page, which is diabetics for years have had that kind of smart clothing. It's actually there's something which is um, there's like a thing you wear on your belt, and I don't exactly know how it works. I don't remember, but anyway, it's taking the blood sugar measurements in real time, and I think it even transmits them through the internet to a hospital. And there's also heart monitors that do that, transmit the signal in real time, so that if there's a problem with your blood sugar, you have something which could quickly inject you with sugar directly into your bloodstream, or at least an alarm could go off. So why should that be only for diabetics? Why doesn't everyone have that? Um, I've also seen one that monitors the amount of exercise you're getting and the type of exercise you're getting. So it gives you a report. So at the end of the day, at the end of the week, or at the end of a period of time, you can see if you're really exercising the way you think you are. And it's a wearable thing. It's on your wrist. I don't understand how they do it, but I've seen it done. Shadow, is there a technology that you would like to see that you haven't heard about? What's a technology that you'd like to wear?
It's about this game that you wear like something in your head, and you can see you can like you live the game.
Oh, the virtual reality stuff.
Yeah.
There's there's a what's it called? Elon. No, oh, what's the name of that? The name of the virtual reality headset that's came out that's very affordable. Uh, anyone know?
I don't know. I was
I
searching.
forgot the name of it. I forgot the name of it. It's the it's blanking on the name. I'll find it. Um, so is that something that that's something that exists already?
Yeah.
And so oh yeah, Oculus Rift, is it?
I don't think so.
No?
I was searching about it, but I forget. But it's like there is I don't remember, but it's not like that. Daniel know it, but he's not here.
Well, the thing I know about is Oculus Rift. So it's like an affordable virtual reality headset, and I can give you a link in a second. Actually, I'll put it on screen as well. 1 second. Did I do this right? Whoops. Nope, not that. Sorry. It's there it is. It's this thing. Whoops. 1 second. There. There you go. It's this thing. It's like, this stuff used to be. Yeah. It's like this affordable version of virtual reality. The stuff that only the CIA and FBI used to be able to use, or people training for military missions, and now it's pretty much publicly available, or it's become affordable, so you can see it. So, what do you think we could do with this technology, Shadow? If it becomes affordable and it becomes commonplace, what do you think? How could that? I don't know. How could that benefit us? What would you like to see?
I think this is good for education. If you want to does it see that inside there? I mean, if you want to know what's inside the ocean, or I think it's very good for education.
So you mean for kids or for adults as well?
For both of them.
For both. So you can see some people developing games. I guess what we see on the screen is, you can see what he's seeing through the glasses as well.
Yeah, nice.
There you go. Um, yeah, this was used to be just called simulators. Um, and what about you, Shadow? Is there not Shadow? Sorry, Shell. What about you? Is there something that you would like to see that you haven't seen? Is there a type of wearable technology that you would like to exist that maybe doesn't exist yet?
Well, yes, there is. It's called invisibility cloak. If you watch it in Harry Potter, there is now. If you can see, the Japanese researchers were able to f- to come up with this invisibility cloak, wherein it uses a camera or a computer to reflect the background image in front of the subject, creating the illusion of being invisible. I posted a link in our chat.
You can see
So
one
it's
of them
really
there.
tricky.
Take a look.
Yes, and it's tricky. And the good thing about this is that, like me, I wear glasses. If I wear one like that, then the glasses wouldn't be visible to you. But more than that, they have included other functions, the same, which are the same with, I think, the Google Glass. Although this is a 2009 version of the research, I don't know now if this was pushed through or.
Well, this
But
is from
then
last
again,
year. This is from 2013, the pictures you're seeing on screen. So this is more recent.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See?
So,
Cool, right?
yeah, it's cool, but what could we do with it? I mean, why would that benefit humanity other than hiding from, I don't know. You can hide with it, but
Well,
why do you like this technology? What do you
yes.
think it could do for us?
Well,
Do you
other
like it
than
because it's
that,
cool, or do you like it because it could really, I don't know, help us in some way? Is it functional?
well, yes, the researchers say that this could actually act as a navigation system, and there's a lot of other functions that I couldn't really understand, but when it comes to being invisible, I think it's a, it's one, well, for those with anxiety or having psychological issues about being seen, I think
You could
this
just
will
make
do
yourself
good.
invisible. There you go. So if you're shy, you could just disappear. No one could see you in the corner of the room.
Yes,
There you
and
go.
also for social psychologists who want to see the natural or the experiment, or want to experiment with people. This will help them in creating a natural and, well, it's kind of I think the research is good.
All right. It's interesting. Certainly interesting. Well, I brought this up because one of the issues, I guess, let me go back to the article, is that we expected, or we've been promised a kind of a revolution. But Google Glass has been talked about for years. So in the first article that I gave you, actually, let me take a look. It's not really an article, it's just an excerpt. You can see Prince Charles there on the page. It talks about another question. Will wearable technology ever catch on? We've been promised a lot of things. When I was a kid, what about Ghost in the Shell? You know that's being remade with Scarlett Johansson, by the way, Yuki?
Ghost in the Shell is a famous animation, Japanese animation. It is about future world. It is about the police story in the future. In the future, policemen use such a coat. They can be invisible when they are fight with gangs. So it's a very famous manga.
And it's being remade with Scarlett Johansson as the ghost.
Yes.
It's gonna be out in 2015, the new version. Why? Why do they have to remake this? I don't know why.
Because this animation is so popular and it is remade many times. Yes.
It's been remade. The one that I know is from 1989. I think it was the original in the late 80s. But why remake it? The original is so far ahead of its time.
Yes, original film is very is created very good. But no, there is it is a continuous story about the main character, protagonist of this story is a female cyborg. She's a policewoman, but it is a separate story. It is kind of series, so many story has been created.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just know the big feature-length manga film from the 80s.
Yes.
Well, one of the things we've been promised is fancy technology for a long time. One of the first things that Microsoft was supposed to do back in the 80s, Bill Gates always said that computers were supposed to be like paper. And the two promises that he had kind of made in the beginning were, one, that you would be able to, if I remember right, write on a computer like as if it was paper. It should be that easy. And two, that you should be able to just talk to the computer instead of having to write, instead of having to type. Neither one of those promises has come true like 30 years later, although they certainly could have, but the technology has been very slow to become popular with the public for whatever reason. Voice recognition is quite advanced now, but it just hasn't caught on. So another issue is about why certain trends catch on and why they don't. So here you've got Prince Charles looking through a Google Glass. You can see he's holding it up. You can even see the little image in the screen. Give me a second here. I have a little excerpt for you, I think. What I'm going to do is we're going to look at a little excerpt, and then we're going to go to a debate where I'm going to ask you to summarize one of the so-called experts in the field. You're going to just skim through it or read it, and we're going to use that to have a debate of our own. So here, this excerpt we're going to read in just a second. Google rolled out a test edition of its much-hyped Google Glass in 2013, and this September, Apple announced the coming of the Apple Watch. But while the public waits for the general consumer release of these products, other companies like Samsung and Sony already have smartwatches on the market. Will wearable technology really catch on? Will it someday be as universal as smartphones? A recent Room for Debate, that's what we're going to do in just a second, Room for Debate feature asked about the future of wearable technologies and whether it was designed to fail. So that's the key question. Is it designed to succeed or is it designed to fail? So we've got a few people here. I think we're going to go right to the debate itself, actually. So let's do this. I'm going to scroll down to the third part where it says debate. I'm going to ask each of you, these are very short, so it should only take a minute or two. I'm going to ask each of you to read one of the experts in the field and come back and present their arguments to the class. And we're going to talk about whether or not these technologies are designed to fail, whether they're living up to their promise, and whether they can, whether there's something just you know, organic about the public, that it's not something that can really be anticipated. It's always something that's up to people to decide, because we've been given lots of promises, but certain things haven't caught on. So actually, we've got one for each of you. So Paulo, I'm going to ask you on your own to read the first "Make the data wearable" from Wearable Devices More Relevant. So you've got a paragraph there. I'm going to ask you to take embedded technologies in our lives. Okay. And Shell, tech and fashion complicate, oh my God, complement each other. And by the way, that one is on
Okay.
page 17. And Yuki, you're going to take the top of 18, the promise of smart glasses in healthcare, which is what Paolo was talking about a little bit earlier, this quantified self. So what I want you to do is take a minute or two, because it's just a paragraph, and then we're going to come in and present these different opinions to each other as you're going to speak as the expert, and we're going to open up a little debate. Okay? So why don't I give you 2 minutes to read, and then we'll come back in and share what our expert opinions have to say. Sound
I
good?
don't have the link. I don't have the link.
Oops. Okay, I'll give you the link. Take a look right now in the chat window there, and in the group chat, you'll see it here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'll give you 2 minutes, and we'll see where we are in 2 minutes, everyone. So how are we doing? everyone more or less ready? Or do you need some more time?
Yes, I'm ready.
One ready. And the rest of you?
Yep, ready.
Yeah, Yuki?
I'm ready.
Okay, well, Yuki, you join us when you're ready. So I'm going to go in order. So, Paulo, you're going to speak as your expert in the field and tell us about why wearable technology is catching on, isn't catch on, should or shouldn't. So, who are you in this debate, Paulo?
Well, the British Carey, the senior editor of CNET.com, tell us about how the devices not connect each other and how difficult to collect data and to put together the information and to analyze all aspects of the data. And the challenge is to bring for us the more analyze the data more accurate appropriate situation. And she criticizes a lot of new device, a lot of new technologies like wearable cameras and smartwatches and Google Glass, for example, but they don't work together to put the information in one way and to bring us the good analyze. I
What's an
think
example of, sorry to cut you off, but what's an example of a good integration? What would be an example of a success story? What do you think?
um, I think um, she speaks that it's not a good example. No, there aren't examples that the
There aren't any good examples right now. Is that right?
Yes, because I think the technology starts now, so it's difficult for to understand how the all devices work together. She criticizes this aspect, and we have a bracelet like a Fitbit control our cardio, but we can put together data about cardio and data about the blood pressure, for example. I think the scientists need to looking for a better way to discuss and to develop new technologies to put the data together. But I think it's interesting because we started this process, and in the near future, I think it's possible to put together this data and to collect and to bring for us more accurate data.
To integrate. Put together is also integrate.
Yes, integrate.
Just
Yes.
like in Portuguese. Integrate. So you can integrate the technology. Like, for example, if you're measuring your cardio and it's connected to your GPS, you could measure where you're exercising the best, not just how good the exercise is. You could say, oh, well, when I'm in Central Park, I'm more productive than when I'm downtown, right? You could connect it to GPS and see exactly which routes. So it seems interesting. So one of the problems is intercommunication between the devices. Okay. And Shadow, who is your expert? So who are you in this debate?
Do you want me to summarize or I
Who
don't
are
know.
you in this debate? Who is your person?
I didn't get a teacher. I'm sorry.
Who did you read? Which person?
Oh yeah, this embed technology in your life, in our lives. They were talking
Okay.
about.
What's his point of view? What's the point he's trying to make?
Yeah, he's talking about that technology failed to add any real value till now.
Why is that?
I think he's talking about that it's not it's just used to count things that not affect our behavior, maybe.
Okay. So, for instance, in other words, give me an example of something that it's doing. You said counting, right?
Yeah, it's like he gave an example here, like tennis game.
Right.
They use this microchip in the handle racket to count the speed and the number for hands, like hands.
To count, or better yet, to measure.
To measure, yeah.
Measure.
So it's for counting, but it's not helping. Maybe it's in I mean, in if we look at it in like in a big picture, we will know that will help the player to improve.
Yeah, I don't understand what the problem is. I don't know why Mr. Ben thinks that that's not good enough. Because sure, why wouldn't it be helpful to know that? Well, does he say what he wants to see? Uh-oh, what happened to Shadow?
I'm sorry, I have a problem today. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yuki's can't get back in either. Strange, I usually have problems and I'm not having any problem today, so I don't know what's going on. So, Shadow, does he give a suggestion about what he'd like to see? Does he give any indication about how to fix the problem?
Yeah, he said, wait, they need to disappear and become embedded into the apparel we already wear, sorry.
Where?
Yeah. And I don't know if he make it like a difference between sensors and what else? Embedded devices.
Mm-hmm.
Like the sensor, it's better than embedded devices.
Okay. So sensors are better than embedded devices. So sensors meaning like the chip in the racket, or actually that would be embedded. I'm not sure what you mean then. So sensors would, I guess you mean that the tennis court would be able to measure things instead of the chip inside the racket. That would be embedded. So he thinks sensors are a better idea.
Yes, he said that. He said it's better and it's costing less than before.
Okay. All right. So just to summarize, Paolo's expert is saying that technology is not integrated enough. Shadow, your expert is saying that it's not yet embedded in the things that we use because it's not feasible to do, I guess, right? That when it is embedded, then it'll really do something, but at the moment, it's not really adding any value to our lives. Did I get that right, Shadow?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. And Shell, tell us about your expert. What is her opinion?
Okay, probably I am the consumer, and I will relay to you the message of the author. About a century ago, a pair of trousers was invented and altered the way that we women dressed. And this was brought about by the way we needed comfort to function better. So there's this functionality tagged along with the development of trousers. Now, fast forward to 2014,
Right?
the author is saying that development of technology should complement, or fashion itself should complement with the development of, or should or rather, the technology, the same should be, wait, the technology should also be developed in terms of functionality, just like in fashion, because the author thinks that both the fashion and technology are keeping the system in an indefinite period of time. They have been there for long periods of time, and it's just that it's
Can you give us an example what you mean?
for example, okay, well, women do not won't well, the author says that women won't embrace the wearable technology. The phones are too big or the watches are too large, and they want to see something new that corresponds to their needs. So what the author is saying is that if it doesn't do something new, why do we have to go or to have another version? For example, iPhone. Why do we have to have another version of iPhone year after year when the function is there, the basic function is there, but it doesn't really make any improvement or streamline or organize our lives in some unexpected brilliant way.
Hmm.
So the
So,
same
sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
yes, the same goes with fashion. The author is saying that fashion should have an impact on technology. Wherein, why not create another a fashion that will complement or will have another function? I think that's what the author wants to see, and she is actually hopeful to see another trouser or another invention that will be benefit for the function of an individual.
Hmm. I just don't know what it is she wants to see in particular, though. I mean, I get the idea. So, trousers liberated women in a way. Because before that,
Yes.
women had to wear horrendous devices like, girdles and things
Correct.
like that, where you couldn't breathe. Um, so I'm just curious what actual, I don't know, what actual tangible thing that she might have in mind. What is the next best thing that would be? So that's the only part I'm not sure about. What it is that she'd like to see. Well, we'll get back to this in just a second, though. But what, you have an idea right now?
Right.
Do you know
Well,
what something
it's an
specific?
open it's an open-ended article. It says here that it will have to balance elegant form with functionality that you just can't live without. And the author is actually waiting for it. So it's
Does
like
she think that
if the,
technology is too male dominated? Is she trying to say that women don't like it because it's designed for men? Like women don't want a smartwatch because it's really designed by men for men and it's just unappealing. Is that what she means?
in, implicitly,
Partly?
yes, partially yes.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm with her. I get it. um, let's hear the last one, and then we're going to debate together. And I've got another case to bring up, which is a little more controversial. So, Yuki, you're back with us. Everything okay now?
Yes, it's okay now. Okay.
Okay. The NSA didn't attack you too badly, I guess. What about the promise of smart glasses in healthcare?
Yes.
What does your expert have to say?
Here, now smart wearable devices are devices were becoming a big issue i- all over the world. But the author of this article doubted, firstly doubted that it will be wearable devices will be used in reality in the field of medicine. So he suspect whether medical doctors will use wearable computer for remedy for the tool of their remedy method, because now it is enoughly now smartphone smartphone and now smartphone has already has been used to check your health, check people's health status, health status every day. It is already widely used, and it also another technology, currently technology, mobile technology, also be used. So maybe wearable computer does not need, yeah. But finally, author said he think or it all the same wearable computer will be used in the future, because this feature of wearable computer that enable doctors to operate and hand-free. How to say? The feature of wearable computer of hand-free operation enable to reduce the burden of operation, and there is some benefit to use wearable computer on the field of medicine. So
so here's a question, just a question. Why is it not used more? Isn't his point that it should be used, and it is being used to some extent, but overall not everyone is using it. It hasn't caught on. It's not everywhere. So does he give an indication about why it's not more common if it's so useful?
Also, I think it is still useful, because such a wearable computer is connected to the internet, and it is designed and with wearable computer with head-mounted technology, enabled to do surgery from do surgery from remote
locations.
Yes, from
remote locations. In other words, you don't have to be in the room to do it.
Yes, it's remote location.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So hand-free communication is enough useful in the future, and it enlarges the possibility of medicine.
Okay.
Medical field.
Well, I've got one more situation to bring up, which is not in these experts. I don't know if I put a link to it. I'm going to give you one more. Let me just see. I don't know if I linked to it or not. I should have. Yeah, it's this one, Article 3. It's not in the document, but I put a link there. So this is one more situation to think about. Oh, what's happening? Is it redirecting? Yeah, here we go. Another wearable technology is, so not cameras to do surgery, but cameras to monitor. So I'll bring up one more that hasn't been listed here in the debate. Should all police officers wear body cameras? So here's a little bit of background. There's been a lot more, but there's been specifically 3 high-profile cases of racially charged violence from white police officers to black citizens. 3 serious cases where people were killed, and really, killed. There's no doubt about it. So maybe you've seen this in the news. So here, I've got a little excerpt from an article that the mayor of New York, Bill de Blasio, is speeding up a plan to outfit nearly all the police with body cameras. And this is following the lead of other cities. The hope is that the body cameras will increase accountability and transparency at a time when tension is growing between communities and local departments. So we have the situation in Ferguson, Missouri, where an unarmed teenager was shot by a police officer, and then in Staten Island, where a black man was killed by a white police officer, and the black man was unarmed again, and his crime was that he was selling cigarettes. And it's a little hard to understand why, in both cases, no one got in trouble. There was no conviction in either case. And there was another case in
I
Ohio.
heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Another one in Ohio, too. So
After the Ferguson incident, and now New York is it is demonstration is going on in New York after the hand. I can't remember. After policeman killed a black person.
the demonstrations are right now. They're happening still today. Yeah.
So now it is advocated that policeman should wear should put the camera on their clothing. Yeah. On their clothes to.
That's the proposal by the mayor.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So,
it's proposed by the mayor.
So what I'd like us to do for the rest of the class is think about what you read, your expert, and I'd like to talk about some of these issues, including this issue about wearable tech for people in government positions, particularly law enforcement, because from your perspective, or from your expert's perspective, you probably can make suggestions that you might not have thought about. So think about what your expert would say. So my question for you is, and you can all come up with your own questions here, but my question is, do you agree that wearable technology like body cameras, but it could be others too, it doesn't have to only be this, but wearable technology will change the way that the police and the community interact? So I want you to answer from your own opinion, but also I want you to answer from the point of view of your expert. Think about what they were trying to make us understand. So we could start with this, but we could also talk about the other trends or the other issues related to why wearable technology hasn't caught on the way it's been promised to. So we can talk about all of these things. So Shadow, you were saying that you agree. Police should be forced to wear wearable technology. Is that right?
Yes, I think they must wear body cameras, because I read a lot about what happened, and I think some policemen use their authority for like they like to show their to use it for of poor people, of weak people,
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, if they believe that then no one watch them, they will do bad things. And I believe that police officers, not all of them are pure and good people.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are bad. So we have to fix that, because if people start to hate police officers, then there it will be like a major issue in the country.
Won't, if they use wearable technology, won't that create a public sentiment against police?
It's like a solution for now. I think policemen will feel bad if if they force them to wear these things, because they feel they're not like trusted from people. Because of that, they wear cameras and these things, but they have to focus on what happened in the country now. So if they want to speed solution, quick solution, they have to do that and to accept that.
Everywhere, all police?
All police. I wish all politician people can wear it.
What's that?
It's not just policemen. I wish that the politicians, people, they...
Yeah, I agree. I don't understand why CEOs of companies aren't made to wear, the cameras everywhere they go. I'd like to know what Jamie Dimon is doing right now, personally.
No, it's not just personally. It's in how they call it, Parliament. I heard that there is an issue because they are private. I don't know what they call it. Trying to put these cameras in people houses and to spy their emails.
Surveillance cameras. Surveillance.
Yeah, and I think this is not. It's against law. Against law? I don't know.
Well, that's the problem. Is because in the United States now it's not exactly against the law. It's supposed to be. It's against the law. It's against the Constitution. It's very clear, 100% clear. Illegal search and seizure is outlined in the Constitution, and yet we saw with the NSA that they're doing it anyway, and they're not being stopped. So it is against the law, but it's happening. And about cameras, okay, who knows? But about monitoring, emails and all that, we know that they're doing it. It came out with Edward Snowden and other disclosures. About putting actual cameras in places, we know that they were able to take over the webcams of computers. That was one of the things that came up. So in a way, you don't have to put surveillance cameras there because your computer can spy on you.
Mm-hmm. Even if I broke my cam?
Someone can remotely control it. And that they put hardware. Everyone who bought a computer in the United States in a certain period of time possibly bought extra hardware in the computer that was used to spy. And they said, by the way, that's illegal too, but they're doing it. And they said, okay, no, it was only for people buying computers in, being shipped to North Korea or whatever they claimed. But how do you know where your computer is going to go? How do they know? So it's very controversial. What would your experts say about this issue, just out of curiosity? What about the solution or about the problem? Because my expert is the mayor of New York, and he says if you put a camera there, you will keep the police, and as Shadow says, and I agree, the politicians as well, you keep them under control. You keep it more transparent.
I think the problem is not in technology, but in morals of policemen. So I think first of all, correct education is needed before putting camera on clothes on their clothes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
Some people definitely think that some American people I think definitely have a opinion of discrimination. tend to have an idea of discrimination. So I think society,
Feel
American society.
discriminated against, you mean? They feel discriminated.
Yes, yes. They, I think now there are increased number of people who have who who have who think who have discrimin who have who have idea of discrimination, right?
I have an idea. What do you mean? You mean that they
Who
feel
have
discriminated against, or they have? What do you mean by idea? The people protesting, like in New York and Ferguson, they feel discriminated against for sure. No doubt about it.
discrimin many now increasing number of people think that they are they have difficulties because of immigrants, because of poor people, because of black people. So
You mean they blame the problems on these groups? They're
yes.
being blamed. Okay, yeah. Immigration is a big issue in the United States because President Obama tried to go around Congress, and which he's allowed to do legally, and prevent 5 million people from being deported or something. He didn't do that in the previous years. He has the highest deportation rate of any president in modern history, as far as I know. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
So I wanted to say just racial discrimination still remains
right.
in the U.S. That's a base of problem. So I think society make every effort to give a correct education, give a correct perception about this problem, about this issue. So I mean the discrimination.
Okay, and final thoughts from the rest of you. We have to end class, unfortunately, now because I have to start another class right away, unfortunately. But what do you or your experts think is the way forward? Final thoughts.
My specialists maybe will tell us that the integrate is a challenge. The obviously you can use the camera, body camera, wear camera, but the integrate of data is difficult. So we have a lot of data, and how we can put this all system together and integrate the information and bring us this one solution to solve the problem.
So maybe if there was some way to integrate the body cameras with other kinds of technology, we could prevent problems like this, right?
Yes, right.
Like I don't know what we could do, but for example, you know, maybe if we see a body camera on a police officer and we see a difficult situation, a backup call could go out immediately so that that officer is not alone dealing with the situation, because maybe it's too difficult to get back into the car or whatever. Okay, so there you go. There you go. That's one thing. And Shadow and Shell, final thoughts from your experts?
Well, I think it's about, again, it's about functionality, and if I may add, it's about the common good of all, wherein the policemen, I don't know how the women felt when they first wore the trousers. Maybe they also felt discriminated, or they may also felt like, I don't know, how they were seen in public. But when it comes to functionality, and if the camera would be able to serve their purpose, the policeman's purpose, on defending the common good, then I don't think they should feel
what about us
discriminated.
defending ourselves? What about having the policeman with the camera so that we are defended, so that there's a record of what's going on? I'm worried about that.
Exactly.
So So if it's
Yeah.
functional, then it should definitely be part of what they do. It should be integrated into their work. Is that right?
Exactly. Yes.
All right. Okay, and Shadow, final thoughts from your expert?
Yeah, as I said, I agree with everything they said. So
That's your final thought?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll have to come back to this topic a little bit later because we're at the end of the hour. I was trying to give you different perspectives on the idea of wearable technology, so I tried to look at it from the point of view of the consumer trend, from the point of view of the paradox of technology. So how the more that we develop the technology, the more it may interfere with our lives, depending on how we use it and how responsible we're able to be. And finally, a more controversial issue about, how we can use it for safety, basically, and what that entails. So we've just opened up the discussion, but we've got to stop. We can certainly come back to it. One thing you can do is that if you have suggestions for hot topics, or if you want to return to a topic in more depth, just send me a message and I'll create a class and we'll do exactly that. Okay? So that's it for now. Have fun with your Google Glass. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you on Monday morning for pronunciation practice. Bye for now, everyone.
Thank you for interesting discussion.
I hope it was.
Bye.
I hope so.
We have
Bye,
enjoyed.
everyone.
Yeah.
See you
See you.
soon.